Hey, this week's episode is about the Society of Indecency to Naked Animals. It's kind of what you think it is. It's a whole group of people who are like, we should put pants on these things because it's really rude that they're nude. So we're a comedy podcast. We learn something every week. So there's a bunch of episodes you can go listen to. But this week is about the society and all the things that came with it. And especially about the creator. We learned about the other things and other movements that he did. So if you're first time here, thanks for being here. If it's not your first time, share the episode. Tell somebody about our dang show because we're having a good time doing it. Let's get to the episode.
Hey, man.
What's up?
Have you heard of the Society for Indecency to Naked Animals? Society for Indecency to Naked Animals. SINA for short. SINA.
Society for Indecency
to Naked Animals.
Okay, so it's indecency to naked animals?
That's what it is, yeah.
This is one of two ways. This is either a group of people who's like, all these animals are naked and they shouldn't be.
Okay.
And they're running around being like, it's offensive that your dog's not covered up.
Yeah.
And also Crazy Frog, dude, Crazy Frog is freaking naked, dude. All this time, Crazy
and like
Frog
graphically naked.
Naked. Alex, did you know that?
It's insane.
Why don't you do a quick Google image for Crazy Frog? The first thing that pops up, now that you know he's naked, you'll see it pretty immediately.
And I don't understand how we didn't. Like,
I don't know how
that
all this
Crazy
time.
Frog was all over the place. Yeah.
Nudity.
And he did it. That was, again, just great moment for people who've never listened to our podcast before.
naked.
Just the two of us just...
Crazy Frog. Crazy Frog's naked, dude. All right. So this is either a society that's really mad that all these animals are out here just nuding.
Yeah.
Or it's indecency to animals. It's a group of people who's like, we want to be naked around animals.
They shouldn't be the only ones.
Like
they have freedom that I'm American.
How it feels.
I'm the American here.
That's what I'm saying.
You're just an animal.
And they are getting
Why
banned
do you
from
get that
zoo
freedom?
after zoo after zoo. That's the only two options.
They
I
walk
can see
in the
this
zoo. They're looking at the
society
gorilla
going.
enclosure. And they're
And
just
they're
like, well, I
like-
better take my pants off, I guess.
Let's clothe every pet and animal, whether dog, cat, horse, or cow. I'm the anti-nude. That's who I am. Put some pants on that orangutan. Things I learned last night. Could you cut me mid-shirt thing and then just the theme song it?
So you were right. It is the first one.
They're mad that animals are naked?
It's a political action group from the late 50s, early 60s that had an issue with naked animals being out in public, just anywhere out in the world. Here is, they put out a record with kind of like there's a couple things on the record. The main thing is like their political discourse,
What, like a vinyl?
lectures. Yeah, vinyl record. And so it's like lectures on what they believe.
You pour a good glass of Merlot and you...
Hey, that's really good.
Crazy Frog is nude and not enough people are talking about it. He's gotta cover up.
Put pants on that frog.
Why? Okay.
Yeah, so they put out this
That's
record.
a lot of work to play. It's not a lot of work to play a vinyl, but it's an effort to play a vinyl.
Yeah,
and
it's
then
not
it cuts off in the
Spotify.
middle, and
Yeah.
it's like, here's what I think we should do with those immigrants. I think. And then that was one side.
was-
You have to flip
you have
it.
to turn it
You have
over.
to flip the record to see what the rest of the sentence is. We should give them housing and work. And you're like, oh, okay.
That's not where I thought you were going with that.
I thought that was going a different direction. I sent you that video the other day, right? Of the most like golf club looking guy. He didn't look like
maybe.
a golf club. He looks like he goes to a golf
This
club.
man looks like a literal golf
No,
club.
he like a polo wearing,
yeah,
just
yeah,
rich looking white kid, and the video starts with "What's my thoughts on immigrants?" and it's like a man on the street interview.
Yeah.
And I was like, why is this on my feed?
Yikes.
But then the rest of the
Then it ended
video
up
was
being
like, yeah,
fine.
they get vilified for everything and all
I
this
think I
stuff.
do remember this, yeah.
I was like, whoa.
Well,
Took a different direction.
so the record they put out was like half lectures and
Okay.
of like here's our beliefs and why we believe them and why you should believe them. And then the other half of it was like some songs that they wrote, which we're gonna spend some time on that in a little bit. But here's this record. If you're listening, it's a record that's
Horse with shorts on.
they're like basketball shorts.
A confidential report on the activities of the Society for Indecency to Naked Animals. Okay.
Here's another
This is like a bit though. This is like the birds aren't real guy.
I don't
Right?
I mean, the bird's not real guy.
Like this is such an absurd thing.
Maybe. I don't know. This is a real political action group. Here's another.
That's what I'm saying. But like if you look at the birds aren't real, there's people who are like, there's nothing other than the idea that it's funny.
Yeah.
And like they know it's a joke. Would be there's nothing written anywhere that's like, by the way, we're kidding around. You know?
Yeah. I mean,
There's no
here's another campaign poster they got. This one's
Birds for decency. They really were focused on the horses.
they
were pretty
had a
mad
problem with the
about
horses.
the horses.
Well, it wasn't just horses. Here's one with their founder with a deer, a baby deer.
Oh,
and he's got
shorts.
I think I don't even think those are shorts. I'm pretty sure that's just a towel. He just wrapped it up in a towel. So here's the story. Here's the story. This was founded by two guys. Their founder, who went by the name, his name was
He went by the name.
G. Clifford Prout Jr. And then his co-founder.
I don't know. That does sound like a prude name. G. Clifford
G. Clifford Prout Jr.
Prout Jr.
Yeah. And then his co-founder, Bruce Spencer. So this is G. Clifford Prout Jr. with the deer.
Okay.
And this is, what did I say? Bruce Spencer. This is Bruce
Both these men
Spencer.
died trying to put pants on a bear, just so we can get ahead of the story.
So these people...
Smoking a pipe. Have you smoked a pipe before?
No.
It's very difficult to do.
I had like a bubblegum pipe when I was a kid. Is it
That's
the same thing?
Yeah. No, it's I wanted to look like an author. I wanted to feel.
Yeah, that is
like,
a pretty author thing to do.
I wanted to
actually.
look like a person who wants to pants animals, and I was like, you know what would do it is a pipe.
That was the point of the campaign. The campaign was, it's too hard to bully animals. They don't speak our
we gotta
language.
put them in their place, dude.
And so we
Like,
need to
what
get
am I
them
supposed
used to
do?
wearing pants.
Whip them.
So we can...
That's abuse. All right. The way you guys are bullying animals is like ethically wrong.
Yeah.
We have to create a scenario where we can just tease them a little.
Yeah, we need to figure
Like,
out a way where we can get just a
It's
little...
hard to pants a horse though. You know what I'm saying? Like it's freaking hard to do.
It is a little tough.
Okay.
So this guy, he noticed G. Clifford Prout.
Okay.
Or Prout? Yes, Prout. G. Clifford Prout. He noticed that there's naked animals all over the place. And he had a problem with
lot of
this.
them.
And he felt like he felt like this was corrupting our kids and our youth because they got to see the naked animals everywhere they went. And so you go out
You
in your
gotta
neighborhood.
think. Like if we just follow it through,
Yeah.
his fear
Yeah.
is someone looking at this animal would then be corrupted toward what?
I mean,
Let's follow it through. I mean, I know we're a family-friendly podcast, but just follow it through for a second.
yeah.
Me looking is going to be like, man, I want to have some premarital sex right now. And that speaks more to who Prout is than, you know what I'm saying? Like if someone's like, we should cover this up. And
Yeah.
it's like, why? Because looking at this horse,
Don't think about the thoughts that's making you think about.
it's like, it's not making me think any thoughts. That's what I'm saying.
Think about the thoughts you're thinking when you're thinking
What are
about
you
that.
talking about? So just follow it through
Just take
for 12
just take a
seconds and you can be like, this guy's a pervert.
It is a little like you're selling yourself out by starting this group. Like it's kind of like the youth pastors talking about TikTok feeds.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It was like, hey, you can't get on this app without naked girls showing up on your feed.
Can't go on a walk
can't?
without seeing a naked dog.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I want to be able to go outside and not stumble. What are you talking about?
What is wrong with you, you psychopath?
You freaking sicko.
Yeah, I guess.
I feel the same way about ATM machines, though, dude. I'm passing. I'm like,
Look at that ATM.
hey, Nabby.
Oh my gosh. You know his.
It's a callback.
Yeah. You know his Instagram handle, Dan Saunders. You know his Instagram handle is ATM Dan Saunders.
No.
He put the ATM in it. I mean, you weren't supposed to answer that. You're just supposed to be like, oh yeah.
Okay,
You're
cool.
not supposed to say, no, I didn't know that.
Cool.
You're supposed to say,
No, I didn't
have you
know
ever been in a conversation before?
That's what I was wondering
Is
about.
this your first time talking to someone? What is happening?
Okay.
Hello,
I'm
welcome
saying-
to my podcast. My guest today has never talked to a person in his life. This is his first time doing this.
Thank you for having me.
Typically people look at each other when they talk to each other.
I'll grow into it.
Baby steps.
Crazy frogs causing people to stumble.
So yeah, I don't know exactly where this happened for him, but throughout his youth, he noticed there's just
These
naked
animals be
everywhere.
nude.
So he started writing these pamphlets and then writing like letters to local news publications. And I got to give it to him because the guy, crazy idea, but honestly, great campaigner. Like probably could have been president if he would have chose a different career path.
If he chose to be normal.
Yeah, if he wasn't
Probably
so
could have been president if
freaking
he wasn't
weird.
such a freaking psycho, dude.
No, because he came up with some pretty good slogans. Well, let's take a look at a couple of them. This one, I'm probably
I'll rate
call
them.
this one.
You give it to
okay,
him,
sounds
yeah.
good. The first one, decency today means morality tomorrow.
Oh, no, that's a slogan that my youth pastor still said.
So he got it from him.
When I was in seventh grade.
I know where you got this.
Whoa.
Whoa.
Decency today means morality tomorrow?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's the same. You know who else said something like that? Was the founder of Chick-fil-A. What you eat today determines how you feel tomorrow.
Oh, I mean, he's not
That's
wrong.
a Truett Cathy
He's not wrong.
quote.
I'm going to be honest. If I eat Chick-fil-A the next day, I don't feel great.
Depends on what you eat from Chick-fil-A.
It's true. Yeah.
You eat a spicy chicken sandwich?
Don't feel great.
Great in the moment.
So good in the moment.
You better hope you die that
So
night.
good in the moment. Yeah.
I would love that as my last meal. Chick-fil-A spicy
spicy
sandwich.
chicken. Deluxe or normal?
Deluxe.
Yeah. Okay. Can we? Never mind.
Pepper jack cheese.
Okay. So
we
here's another one.
Execute me? Is that where you're going? Huh?
Can we?
Can we make that happen?
Can we
Wow.
do this? Okay, no, here's another one. This one's not so much a slogan, it's just like a highly
Just like
quoted
I would
line.
say it.
This is something that's like highly quoted from
Sure.
him. He said, any dog, cat, horse, or cow that stands higher than 4 inches or longer than 6 inches should be clothed.
So there's a height limit on it. There's like a...
Yeah, but that limit is insane. Taller than 4 inches, longer than 6 inches. We're talking freaking lizards. Like that is
So if it's
small.
longer than 6 inches,
Clothes. Put some
clothes.
clothes on it.
How you closing a snake?
Special clothes.
Clothes.
Yeah, it's one of those. What do you call those? The finger traps.
That's what I'm saying. This has gotta
You
be a
just
joke.
slide the finger trap on the snake and just. Here's another one. Here's
Chill.
another one. This is my favorite. A nude horse is a rude horse.
Okay.
What do you rank that one?
10 out of 10 for the rhyme.
Yeah, that's a good one. That's a good one. So
Nude is rude. Nude is rude.
So he started forming this political action group, got his made friends with that Bruce Spencer guy, and they kind of started taking it to market. I don't know if that's the right word for that.
Trying to find other people who are weird.
So they started canvassing neighborhoods, writing tracts, and handing them out to people in neighborhoods, like to support their vision. And they were sending letters into like local papers.
One of the ways you got to
and
campaign
magazines.
is you got to rail on how bad the problem is.
It's such a big issue.
You got to be like, look at this.
Look at that. Do you want to look at that? A guy rings on your doorbell.
Can you Photoshop? One of our social media posts is just this. And it's Crazy Frog. Just to pick me holding.
Yeah. Blur his midsection. The entire
when you
midsection.
see it, you're never gonna unsee
You're never gonna unsee it. And I don't understand how we didn't see it.
We
growing
never
up.
saw it.
I just don't understand how we didn't.
Anyway.
It's insane. Okay. So can you imagine though, opening there's a knock at your door. You think it's a Tupperware salesman. It's the 50s. That's that era. And you open the door and there's a guy with the picture just like, look at this. Oh God, what are you doing here?
What is that?
That's offensive, isn't it? I mean, yeah, it was pretty offensive.
This is a picture of your dog yesterday. They come around your neighborhood one day with cameras.
Yeah, they're like in their
canvas.
car. They're like parked in the car, like hiding in the car, taking pictures of everyone's naked pets.
Is freaking weird, right? Is freaking weird.
Yeah.
What's that guy doing? Just taking a picture of your dog. Oh, you think it's a cute dog? Too cute.
That dog's too cute to not have pants on.
Too tall for nude.
Can't be that tall and naked.
I guess like under 4 inches. Are they thinking like a squirrel maybe? Like you're not going to...
Yeah, I think there's a certain... 4 inches, squirrels are a bit taller than 4 inches. I think it really is basically getting to the point where it only excludes insects. Yeah. Insects are the only things you don't have to put clothes on. And that's probably a practicality thing, honestly.
Yeah.
If they could figure out how to do it, I'm sure he would have been for it.
Okay.
And so
I'm not convinced this is a real thing.
So this campaign starts picking up some steam, and they actually start getting like on television productions.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
And so they're ending up on like CBS, and at the height of it, they had in 1962, August 1962, they were on Walter Cronkite, and so like they were like,
okay,
were like public, they were out there.
Yeah.
And over the course of those few years of campaigning, they developed a pretty large following. There's estimates are somewhere in the ballpark of 50,000 supporters nationwide that were then joining the cause and canvassing their neighborhoods, telling people about, hey, here's what we got to do. And what they said is, if you see your neighborhood, in your neighborhood, you see a neighbor that doesn't have pants on their dog and they're out walking their dog,
shame them.
Well, they said you should feel free to essentially do a citizen's arrest and go and say, hey, you need to put some pants on that dog.
ma'am, and you've got shorts and you're just walking.
Ma'am,
excuse me, ma'am. She's like, ma'am. Yeah. Ma'am, I'd like
There's
to
a
talk
man
to you.
chasing me with a pair of shorts.
Do you feel like public nudity's fine?
No, absolutely not.
If you wouldn't do it?
Dog shouldn't do it. They even got to the point where a group of them picketed in front of the White House. This has been retouched so you can read the sign, just so you know. But this is them.
This has been retouched?
Yeah, so you can read the sign better.
Oh. Thank you for giving me a digitally altered little asterisk on this image.
I just want you to know, like, that's why the script looks so legible.
Sure. Remember when you could be able to get that close to the White House?
That's a good point.
You know what I'm saying?
That was before they burnt it down.
Now you get to Washington, D.C., and at the baggage claim, you turn around. There's the gate to the White House. It's very far away from the airport.
Wait, hold on. Oh, you're saying like when you get off the airport,
they've put a gate.
You can't pass this line
in front of the gate.
Yeah,
in front of the gate. All because that one guy got in there with a knife in the Obama years.
Oh yeah, that's right. He just and everyone's like, "Sir, is that a knife?"
Like, put some pants on. Dude.
We don't care about the knife. Put some pants on.
I'm pretty sure he wasn't wearing pants.
But yeah, and so at their height, they had around 50,000 members. They were out there doing campaigning, talking to their neighbors. They had all these pamphlets. They had books, the record. They had their headquarters was in New York on Fifth Avenue, but they had offices.
They had a New York headquarters.
They had a New York headquarters, but they had offices around the states in DC, LA, St. Louis, Chicago, San Francisco. So this is the late 50s, early 60s. So it looks like it really picked up in 59. And then it hit like it's like...
that sign said Mrs. Kennedy. They're addressing Jackie. You know?
Interesting. So yeah, this is the...
Do you think that Mrs. Kennedy did anything about it? Or What are you? What?
I'm gonna make them think about it. As president is out here just ignoring my pleas.
Yeah.
I went all the way to the White House. I held up my signs.
Yeah.
I even brought shorts for them. Another thing that was big in their campaign, this is another Clifford line that I forgot to tell you. So you rate this one.
Oh, okay.
Zoos are peep shows for children. Scale of 1 to 10. Where do you rate that?
I mean, it's clear. It's concise.
Yeah.
It's telling.
It's very inflammatory. It puts a picture in your mind.
Yeah.
It does make you say, like, why are we letting kids see all that? For free? I mean, most of these are free, especially in the
The problem is that it's free. Is that what you're saying? No, that's what it sounded like.
Kids.
For free? We got to start charging.
Hey, if you've been watching for a minute and you like this show, a great way to help out is by becoming a Patreon supporters. Our patrons get a ton of perks for their support. They get ad-free episodes a week early. They get a Discord with our hosts and producers. We do monthly hangouts. There's a way to get birthday messages on your birthday. There's a lot of great perks, but more than anything, you just help make sure that this show continues to happen forever. We never want to stop. We're going to keep doing this forever. If we have enough patron supporters, we can put our brains in those little vats and like have AI pretend it's us. And so like we can keep doing it long after we die. But that only happens if you support us on Patreon. So we appreciate your support. Thanks for your help. If you don't want to support, that's totally fine. Thanks for being here. We really appreciate you watching this show. So, and then they developed their anthem, the SINA anthem. And I want you to sing this. I'm going to put it up on the screen. I want you to sing this.
Whatever tune I think it goes to.
Yeah, I was going to give you the tune, but actually I like that idea better.
Oh,
you
great.
Just go for it and see.
Let me read it.
How you hit it. This is the late 50s, early 60s. That can probably give you a pretty good hint of what the tune is for this.
Wait, okay. Hey, what? I guess I don't know the tune.
You're pretty close. I'm not going to lie.
High on the wings of SINA, we fight for the future now.
Nailing it. That's exactly it. Keep going.
What is the tune, actually?
That's actually exactly it. I'm not even kidding. No, you were dead on.
Let's clothe every pet and animal, whether dog, cat, horse, or cow. G. Clifford Prout, our president. He works for you and me. What is this?
You're nailing it. Keep going.
Stop.
Keep going. I want everyone to hear this whole song.
You're so full of it right now.
I'm not kidding. You're nailing it.
So clothe all your pets and join the march for worldwide decency.
There we go.
SINA, that's our call. ARMY. I'm an anti-nude. That's who I am. Put some pants on that orangutan. SINA, that's our call. All for one and one for all. Hoist our flag for all to see, waving for morality. Onward we strive together, stronger in every way. All mankind and his animal friends for, is it SINA?
Yeah, SINA, and then you spell it.
SINA.
And I love the picture at these rallies that they would hold. They would do this. And I just love the picture of everyone in that crowd chanting the SINA at the end.
SINA. And really it would go for all mankind and his animal friends for SINA. We are the worst podcast that exists, I think. I'm sorry you have to live through this stuff.
And they had
you're on a walk right now.
You're just on a walk.
And in your ears we're going which sucks from a content perspective, to be honest with you. It's just bad content. That's what we're doing.
So they had donors. They had probably their largest single donation. this is like 61, was a woman in San Bernardino donated $40,000 to the cause. And so like they had people
San Bernardino?
Yeah.
She's the richest person in San Bernardino. I don't know if you've ever just do a quick Google.
It was a different time. It was a different time.
Google image search.
It was a different time.
For San Bernardino.
I know.
I can't imagine a time where that crap hole looked good, to be honest. We drive through it to go out to the pretty part of California. But it's definitely the armpit.
It's definitely the pit. Well, maybe
every time we drive through, it's like, I'm going to drive faster.
I need to get the heck out of here.
For real. My wife's like, I got to pee. Hold
No,
it.
you don't. No,
Go in the back
you
seat.
don't.
I would rather you pee in my car than me have to stop in San Bernardino. That's how much I hate this place.
So this is becoming a pretty big thing. And like I said, they got on Walter Cronkite's show and they had their whole expose about it and he shared his opinion. And I should say, most television shows and a lot of news organizations would broadcast this as like almost like a freak show sort of thing. Like they weren't like, we want you guys to hear about the newest risk attacking our children.
Right, that's what I'm saying. They'd be like
they were like, look at
what
this
the birds
idiot.
are. Yeah, the birds are real people.
Yeah. And so they'd be like, instead they'd like let him share his points, but then they'd be like,
notice I said birds are real people. You know?
I didn't say art. And so
because they are.
So
they're real people.
So he's on G Clifford Prout.
I like that you're pushing through right now.
I'm trying.
Birds, like actors, are real people.
And that's the crazy thing. They're not wearing pants out there. They're just flying around pantless because they're like, oh, I'm a bird. I don't have to wear pants.
That's why they're pooping everywhere, dude.
There's a dude in the alleyway by your apartment dressed like a bird. Like he's just got a bunch of feathers taped to his arm, butt naked. And he's painted his whole
body.
body.
I live in Los Angeles. This is real.
He's painted his whole body gray, so he looks like a
real
pigeon.
Thing that is by my house.
Paper mache beak on his face.
Yeah.
And you're like,
his
bro,
name's
you gotta,
Trevor.
bro, you gotta put some pants on. He's like, I'm a bird. Birds don't wear pants. Bring it back in.
That's what. So anyway, the birds aren't real people.
Yeah,
are on the news not because the news people are that's what's funny about the guy who does the birds aren't real thing is that he really commits to the bit.
Yeah,
and the news people are like, I mean,
you're joking though, right?
And he's like, this is really rude that you'd say that.
Yeah. He's like, no, I really believe.
So
this.
Walter Cronkite.
Well, but that's the crazy thing is the birds not real guy. There's people who are like, yeah, I think he's right. I think birds are just cameras, are just drones.
Sure.
And that's dangerous.
Yeah, but I mean, like, wouldn't you rather than be rallying behind that cause than just like we should unite and take over a government building? Which one would you rather? Than be like, hey, every once in a while, just be like, that bird's
I mean, but that leads to that.
I don't know if I'm afraid of the bird people.
I think that's the like entry drug for.
You think that's the red pill people keep talking about? I got first thing I got red pilled because
the birds.
You know.
So anyways,
I just looked at him and I was like, that's not real.
That's definitely not real. Be for real. So he goes. He goes on Walter Cronkite, does his broadcast.
Sure.
G Clifford Prout shares says his campaign lines, does whatever. They probably play his theme song when he walks out. His theme song, his anthem when he walks out. And there's a guy watching at home who works for CBS.
Okay.
And he's watching this interview. He doesn't work on Cronkite's show. He works on different shows at CBS. He's like a boom operator or something, you know?
He's not even not even like a person. He's just a boom operator.
Yeah. He's like he works there.
Crew.
He works there. Yeah, he's on the crew. He works there. He does not like a president at CBS.
Yeah.
You know, like he works. Yeah. And he's watching this and he's looking at G Clifford Prout sitting there in Walter Cronkite's guest chair. And he's looking at him. He's like,
I know this guy.
Yeah. He's like, this is no G Clifford Prout.
Oh, really?
He's like, this is a Buck Henry. And
okay.
Buck Henry was a brand new writer, an actor.
Yeah.
That would go on.
It's a fun bit.
That would go on to be in a ton of TV and film and write a lot, but also act and be in different things.
Okay.
And host SNL 17 times.
After
this. So this is before any of this happened. This is like his first time on TV was.
So he was
this
doing a
campaign.
good bit.
Yeah.
I love that. That's
so
fun.
so this was actually started by the co-founder.
Got it.
So the co-founder, Bruce Spencer.
This guy looks like he is serious about the pants.
He does seem like he'd be serious about it. So this guy, he's going by Bruce Spencer. He's the co-founder in this whole thing.
Okay.
Not making a lot of public appearances. Very rarely coming on the public appearances with Prout, who's actually Buck Henry, soon to be pretty major comedian. This guy is a guy by the name of Alan Abel. And Alan Abel, in the 40s, was driving.
Oh, I was really afraid where the next sentence was going to go. That was definitely a record flip moment. Alan Abel in the 40s. That sentence is just dangerous for anybody.
For anybody, yeah. So in the 40s, he was driving through a like rural Texas area.
Okay.
And happened upon a spot where pretty rare in rural Texas, there was a traffic jam. And everyone's like outside their car, and like he like peeks out and he realizes everyone's like disgusted. And he's like, why is everyone so grossed out right now? And he's looking around like people are covering their eyes. They're very like they're noticeably angry, noticeably disgusted. And in the center of the road ahead of them, traffic is blocked both directions. There's a couple cows mating in the center of the road and blocking traffic. And everyone's just disgusted.
Everyone's so mad.
And this made an impact on him.
Really? Here? In the middle of the road?
In the middle of the road.
In the 40s? Don't you know what's going on in the world right now?
Put some pants on that cow. So he sees this and this makes an impact on him because he's like, he thinks, how ridiculous are all these people that they see two cows doing what cows do and they're like grossed out about it. And he dead serious. This is dead serious, his reaction. And he's like, what's wrong with all these people? All these prudes just seeing these animals do what animals do and get upset about it. But I'm thinking about it and I'm like, if I'm driving and I just happen upon a couple mating cows, I'm also kind of like, I don't want to look at that.
In the middle of the road.
I don't want to see that. Like, I'm not like, oh man, these immoral cows.
Yeah.
I'm like, ooh, gross.
I mean, I don't see wedding rings
I don't
on
see
those
everyone
cows.
either, those cows. Premarital cows. And so this leaves like a lasting impact on him. He goes on and he becomes like a musician in college. He's in a band and he's doing all that stuff. Gets out of college and is like, what am I going to do with my life? And he's like, oh, I could do that thing with the animals. And so he decides, I'm going to start this as like it's a joke. It's a prank, but it's also
birds
like,
aren't real.
It's also proven a point. It's like, you guys are all so stupid. Like you think that you're so into.
It's kind of like how I want to become. I would love to spend the next 20 years and become like the top country artist.
Yeah.
And then turn around at the end of the 20 years and be like, hey, I was joking.
Hey, by the
whole
way,
time.
none of that was real.
Yeah. I just made the lowest denominator of music. And you guys were like, this is good. I love this guy.
And so he does this whole scheme. It obviously gets really big. He calls up Buck Henry.
Productive. I don't hate country music fans. I hate some of them.
Some of them deserve the hate.
Yeah.
But it's not.
It's not all of them.
That person could be a fan of any music and they deserve the hate.
And they're not a fan of our podcast, so I'm not really afraid of.
And so he calls up Buck Henry, and Buck Henry's just starting out. He hasn't got a major role yet. He's got writing credits on a couple things, but he hasn't been in front of the camera yet. And he's like, hey, I got this idea. And Buck Henry is like, man, I love this. This is great.
Yeah.
And so Buck commits. And I think, I kind of think Buck committed to it a little more than Alan expected. Buck to commit to this thing. And they went hard.
He's like, I legally changed my name.
I am now G. Clifford Prout. And so luckily Buck ran with this thing, and Buck was on his own going out and doing all these interviews and like contacting all these people.
And Alan was like, oh, okay. Yeah.
And it's just so poetic to me that he ends up becoming like this major comic.
Sure.
But his first TV credit is appearances for this before he got credits doing anything else. His first appearance.
Gosh, what's the actor's name? You would recognize him. The guy, he's in What We Do in the Shadows.
I don't know his
the
name,
nerdy
but
guy.
I do know who you're talking about. Yeah.
You've seen his morning show appearances, right?
Maybe.
Have you not seen this?
Maybe.
Look up his name real quick so I can credit him so that
Okay.
people can look him up. And I wish I remembered his name. I when you say it, I'll go, oh yeah, obviously. But he did like morning news segments. I've sent you multiple of them because
Yeah, I
I'm
know
like,
you have.
I'm like, look how easy it is to get on the morning news.
Which role does he play?
He's the nerdy guy.
Mark Proksch?
Yes.
Colin? Is Colin Robinson his name?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, Colin Robinson. Yeah.
Okay. So have you seen his morning news segments where he's like a professional yo-yoer?
Yeah. Yep.
And then he gets a call in the middle.
Yeah.
And he goes, and he never do a single yo-yo trick. But he gets a call about how his dad is dying.
Yeah. But he's like on air, live on air.
He's like, oh, okay. And he told them, like, he goes, guys, I might get a call.
I might get a call. I'll have to take it.
And like they just let him on
And
air.
they just let him do it.
That's what I'm saying. That's funny.
Yeah, that's pretty good. So that's what Buck did. Buck's first role.
We should
was stuff
do
like that.
some morning news segments with our highest goal being KY3. I could get us on KY3 easy.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, I think you could get anybody on KY3.
Yeah, yeah.
I think you could call and be like, "Hey, I know a guy."
Yeah,
and
he's
they'd be like,
pass
cool.
them through. And they're like, great.
Yeah, let's put him on.
Hey, if you need a boost of confidence, let me give you a quick hack. Just wear a shirt size bigger than you usually do. You know what I'm saying? Right now, you're wearing large. And just buy an XL, you know? And we have plenty of sizes available in our merch store. If you go to TILLN.com, and so that'll help you boost your confidence overnight. Is that good? Can I say that?
I mean, you can say whatever you want. That's
TILLN.com/merch.
So SINA blows up. It becomes a big thing. After his appearance on, or after the appearance on Walter Cronkite, this guy comes forward and is like, tells CBS,
that's not him.
He's like, that guy is an actor. And CBS is like, really? And so they tell Cronkite, and Cronkite loses his mind. He's so mad. And there's a quote from Alan Abel, and Alan Abel like reached out to him afterwards, and he said when Cronkite reached out to Alan Abel, and Alan Abel said later in an interview, he said, when Cronkite eventually found out that he'd been conned and I was the guy behind it, he called me up and he said, I'd never heard him that angry on TV before. Not when he talked about Hitler, Saddam Hussein, or Fidel Castro. He was furious with me. Yikes. So in 1963, Time puts out an article and they like formally expose it as a hoax.
Sure.
But they still had people out there that like latched onto it and continued to campaign for it afterwards because they were like, yeah, you know what? They were right. We should not let just naked animals be out there. So they were like canvassing neighborhoods and telling their neighbors and holding up signs and picketing and stuff like that for years after it came out that the whole thing was just an elaborate ruse. And it's important to mention too, before I forget, they got a lot of donations that came in, but they were like, we don't want to commit mail fraud. So just send it all back. And what they would send back is they would send it back to whoever sent it with a note from Clifford Prout. And he would say, I'm an heir. And so I have a lot of money. I don't need any money. I'm financing this myself. Thank you for your donation. That was really generous.
I mean, like, what's the point? I mean, you gotta make money off of it. You know? What's the point?
I mean, if you're doing it, like, why are you doing this if you're not getting rich? And so
for fun. Fun doesn't exist in our capitalistic supreme society. Do you understand? You have to claw your way ahead or you'll never make it in this world. Do you understand that if you don't save every single penny that you have and put it away for a later time, that you will be crushed in less than 10 years? Everything about you will be gone. Anyway.
So Buck Henry goes on to get nominated for 2 Academy Awards, 2 Golden Globes, and 3 Emmys. He wins an Emmy and he wins a Golden Globe.
For the SINA stuff?
Not for other stuff.
They were like, this is great.
So he ends up becoming like a really major comic through like the 60s, 70s, and into the 80s. And then his career continued after that, but it wasn't as.
But yeah, whatever.
But it was kind of like, what are you still doing that? Alan Abel, on the other hand, his career continued. And so some of the things he did after this was he started a school for golf professionals to get better at golf, and he taught them ballet positions. And so they would go out on the golf course doing ballet while they swung, because he thought it was really funny to picture all of them going out on the green and doing ballet before they hit.
Yes.
I mean, it's pretty funny.
I respect it.
He also created, his wife played a fictional woman named Yetta Braunstein, who he campaigned as a write-in candidate for president in both 64 and 68. And they campaigned under their own made-up party called the Best Party. And they obviously didn't win. They did receive some votes.
Shucks.
And then he had a handful of other appearances. One of my favorite, as he appeared on the game show To Tell the Truth in the 70s. You know what that show is?
No.
That was a show in the 70s where there would be 3 people that would come out, and they would like tell their story, who they were, and then the contestant would have to be like, that's the person telling the truth. Okay, the other ones are lying.
I've seen this.
And so he came out and he covered his head in bandages so you couldn't see any of his face. Yeah. Yes. And so he was completely like, you don't see any of him. The 2 people standing next to him are major A-list actors. Yeah. And so they came out, and the major A-list actors told the truth. They said exactly who they were. And then he made up this crazy story about how like he lost his face or something and had these bandages.
Yeah, but you can't, and not a single person can be like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it just sets it up where it's like, I think the burn victims lie. You can't on national TV. There's no scenario.
Yeah, but it's
so you can be like, stand up. You know, like you can't do that.
It's Arnold Schwarzenegger and Jennifer Lawrence, and you're like, it's the guy in the middle telling the truth. And they literally said, I'm Arnold Schwarzenegger. Like they said who they were. Yeah. That's not who they were. They were 70s actors that I was going to say.
It's Arnold Schwarzenegger and Jennifer Lawrence.
That's not who it was.
Jennifer Lawrence is the first celebrity you think of. Also, what is 2024? What is this? 2013? Did Hunger Games just come out?
I'm putting it in modern terms.
Oh yeah, it's Jennifer Lawrence.
From that very popular movie, The Silver Linings
Playbook. You know what I'm talking about? You know the new movie that just came out with Jennifer Lawrence? What are you talking about?
I'm putting it in words. Everyone here would understand. Yeah. What are you, stupid?
You can't afford this.
He also started Omar's School for Beggars. And so this was pretty late in his career. It was like he started it in 75, ran it through 1988.
Oh.
And he would go, and same thing, he would do TV appearances about how he was training homeless people to beg. Yeah. And he had like a school that he would teach them. But here's the thing. People knew him now. At this point, like he's like known for being the guy who goes on TV and lies. And so all this,
I want to be known for it so bad.
All the TV companies had, I'm not even kidding, posters of him on the wall. And they're like, do not let this guy on set. And so
now it's a challenge.
So now he's going on for
as Omar's, a burn victim.
He's going on for...
I teach homeless people how to be homeless.
So he's
learn from my mistakes.
Because of what he's doing, he tells them that he has to conceal his identity. So he's going on national TV dressed like this.
Like a bald knobber? Oh my gosh, dude.
And he's saying, I'm Omar and I teach beggars how to beg.
And they're letting him on TV?
And they're letting him on TV like that. And he's sitting on a morning show. At a morning show
it's
table.
6:30 in the morning.
You turn on your TV. Dude, it's Rachel Ray.
That scary person. Today's news. That's how they all talked. We've got Omar who teaches homeless people how to do it better. Yeah, I tell them if they extend their arm here, but people don't like it when you come from above and be like, hey, you got any money? They like it when you go, hey, you got any money?
A lot of people started to figure out what he was doing because he went on lots of shows as Omar. And one...
Is he making money on this?
What do you mean?
How is he making money from being Omar,
That's the thing. He's not. So we'll touch on that in a minute.
Okay.
But one of them specifically, he was on the show and the host gets really mad at him because he comes out, like he invites him out and he comes out on stage live in front of the studio audience on television and he brings the guy's lunch. He got it from the fridge and he just eats the guy's lunch right in front of him on live TV. In that mask.
And it's like got the name on it and everything.
And he's like, is that my lunch? And he's like, oh, I might be. I think so. Is this your name? I thought that was mine.
I don't know how to read. The sticker says, bleh, 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 bleh. So, I don't know. Is that you?
No idea what this
is your name?
says.
Blah, 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 blah? I didn't think so.
In 79, he faked his own death, and he got
obviously
the New York Times to publish his obituary.
Yeah,
and then he came out and he said
about that.
Yeah, he came out on January 3rd, 1980, just a couple days later, and announced in a news conference. He called a press conference, and there's it's in front of City Hall or something. He walks out and he says, the report...
Four Seasons gardening.
And he says, and I've heard this phrase before, and I'm curious if this is where it originated or if he's using it.
Yeah.
I'm very curious. But he says, the reports of my demise have been grossly exaggerated.
Okay.
He also hired a group of 7 people to go to Phil Donahue's show in 1985 and be in the studio audience and faint. They all just started fainting, and they panicked so much during this live broadcast that they were like, it must be too hot in here. And so they kicked the whole audience out and had a whole episode without the audience because these dudes pretended to faint in the crowd. And so this is his life.
Pretty good stuff.
He goes on to do all sorts of stuff like this, many, many more, just random hoaxes and pranks and things like that. And then in 2004, his daughter produces a film for the not Sundance, Slam Dance Film Festival.
Yeah.
Called...
should be bigger.
It was called Cain Raised Abel. And it was a documentary about her dad. And I watched it. And the very first line, and she said... Growing up, we never had very much money, and I didn't understand why until I was older.
Then I realized my dad just didn't want to have a
job. And so she said that they were freelance writers, and that's where the money came from.
Okay.
But they spent the majority of their time
joking around.
Just the 2 of them coming up with these stupid pranks and getting on TV
Who's
with
the
them.
2 of them?
Him and his wife.
Oh.
And so his wife was like...
Great life, to be honest.
Honestly, they loved it. But yeah, and so... At the point when she was producing this film, she was trying to get a home for them because they didn't have a home at that point. They were living out of a storage unit. They were sleeping out of a storage unit. But some of those most prolific...
Who was? At the time of the documentary?
Yeah, in 2005. So this is like
at the end of
their life.
He's old.
Yeah, the end of their life.
In a storage unit.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, man. I was really looking up to this guy.
Yeah. I mean, to be fair, he accomplished a lot.
Yeah.
Except for the whole personal life thing. His personal life was disaster. But the things he did, pretty crazy. Pretty hilarious.
Unless he's playing a long game trying to get on an episode of Storage Wars.
He's like, one day I'll be there.
He's like,
they open
that freaking
mask.
But he's back there and they're like, that's a weird mannequin.
Yeah.
And he's just back there like,
just waiting for them to get closer.
They close it and they're like, oh yeah, I'll bid this, whatever.
Yeah.
And then he just walks up and starts banging on the door. Oh man.
Let me out.
That's a great episode of Storage Wars.
But yeah, this is him.
I've watched every episode of Storage Wars, by the way.
This is him.
In his storage unit?
He passed away in 2018. This is the very end of his life.
He looked happy though.
Yeah,
Look at how old he is.
Yeah.
And look how happy his face is.
He played percussion in the band in college.
I hope.
And
pretty clear with all the percussion stuff.
And he's like, that was my one true passion.
Was percussion?
Yeah.
Okay.
But he missed it and instead did everything else he did.
Okay. I'm going to tell you this. As a percussionist, if someone wanted to do a photo shoot of me in my percussion stuff, the triangle is the last thing I'm picking up for this photo shoot. I'm not going to be like, my
You know what
I've done a lot in my life.
Yes.
I live in a storage unit, but I still got a little bit of pride. All right. Show me playing
Let me get my triangle.
something other than the triangle. I played the timpani.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
That's another one.
I played the rain stick. Come on, dude. I'd rather hold a rain stick than the triangle.
The rain stick's pretty sick. That's pretty good. Anyways, that's a Society for Indecency to Naked Animals. He said that they originally wanted to call it the Society Against Indecency to Naked Animals, but then that'd be SINA, and he said SINA is what I wanted it to be. So he had to change it to 4. And he's like, that's a little confusing, but we had to stick with it. And that's
SINA is how he pronounced it.
yes.
Because them animals are sinners.
Yes, that's the idea.
Okay.
And so that's the
idea?
story of Alan Abel. His career got kicked off in a pretty crazy way. And I don't know if you could call it a career because I don't know if he made money from it.
Career's a word.
His lifelong hobby, I guess.
Oh,
Yeah.
it's kind of like whatever that we're doing here.
Whatever you call this.
I love this lifelong hobby we've been doing. Anyway, instead of the Fiddle Off, can we have the John Cena music? I don't think we have the rights for it, but it'd be pretty cool if we were like Fiddle Off.
Yeah. We could just take that fiddle and remix it. So it's the fiddle.
We asked Alex to do different stuff with our music.
And he does
so
it.
many episodes. And he's like, yeah, I can.
He's like, I could do that.
He goes, I have the ability.
I'm not going to.
No. He doesn't even say I'm not going to. He just goes, I can do that.
Yeah.
Well, I learned that my hero ended up in a storage unit, so maybe that'll be my life too. Hey, thanks for joining us for Things I Learned Last Night. If you like this episode, there's another episode we did called the 1904 Olympics. There is an element of that story where a person won first place and then was like, just kidding, because he jumped in a car and set a record pace. And people were like, that's crazy how fast you ran this race. And then he came out and was like, I was joking. But there's a lot of other insane things that happened during that race. And it's personally one of my favorite episodes, one of my all-time favorites. So please go check that out. Again, please share the show. That's the only way that we grow this thing. That's the best way to find new fans is for you as a fan to say, hey, I found this thing that I like and I think you'd like it too. So thanks for doing that. We'll see you next week on Things I Learned Last Night.